But of course, we're going to start with the conclusion of a transfer saga that has seen a standoff between player and club as Alexander Isak finally secured his British record move from Newcastle to Liverpool. It was a close-run thing, with confirmation only finally coming through at 10 p.m, 3 hours after the official deadline. The £125 million deal for Isak takes Liverpool's outlay to more than £446 million. That eclipses Chelsea's record of £434.5 million back in the summer of 2023.
Alexander Isak is Liverpool's new number 9. They've confirmed it officially now. He has signed in a British record transfer of £125 million, and he has signed a 6-year contract with Liverpool. And he's had this to say: it's been a long journey to get here, but I'm super happy to be a part of this team, this club, and everything it stands for. It's something I'm proud of, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just happy it's done and that I can get back to work. I'm looking forward to seeing my teammates and the fans and getting back out there. He added, I think I have a lot to give. I think I have a lot to improve. I'm a striker, but I always want to give as much as possible to the team, mainly goals, but much more than that as well. I want to win everything. Yeah, it's as simple as that. But official confirmation now from Liverpool that British record transfer has gone through and Alexander Isak is their new number 9.
The two players that have agitated the most to get the move they desired, Alexander Isak and Johan Wissa, and both of them have ultimately got their desires and wishes, and they've ended up moving clubs. Mark Gay, Jørgen Strand Larsen, players that had the opportunity to move, that have gone about it in the right way, focused on the football, continue to play for their sides, are still at their clubs.
Exactly.
Ultimately, contract is king. And if you have a contract with someone, you will end up staying there. Now, if PIF had turned around to Alexander Isak in that meeting that happened on Monday and said, you're going nowhere, they hold the power. A legal contract is a legal contract. But what you're certainly seeing is the way that players are using social media, using their powerful voices, their millions of followers globally, to agitate and to say the right things. They're being advised by representatives and agents because they know that the best way to get this move happening is for you to do this and for you to try this and for you to do that. And that's what we've seen. And it's going to be fascinating to see what happens between now and next summer, when hopefully we'll have another blockbuster window and see what kind of power players have. But then you could look at Carlos Felipe, Brighton, Manchester United interest, Brighton very firm, you're going nowhere. And Brighton have always been very firm with the players they sell. You're going nowhere until we say and we get the price. So it just depends on the ownership and the current situation with the player that they have a relationship with and the dynamic of that. And that's going to be key.
Yeah, so with the addition of Isak then, Liverpool have built quite a formidable forward line, haven't they? But can they all play together? Michael Dawson says no, and it will be their latest recruit, so we'll have to bide his time.
When Ekitike came in, Wirtz came in, they were pretty unstoppable then, to be honest. You've got to remember, champions last year, and then you go, yes, they lost attacking players in the summer, but when you recruit in the way they did so early on, it gives them a chance to work in pre-season. Ekitike started the season great, and now you're adding Isak to that. And the question is, how do you get everyone in? And Isak, for me, at this moment in time, he's going to have to wait his turn. You've got Sally, you've got Ekitike, and you've got Gakpo. You've got to remember, Isak hasn't been training, so he's been on his own. 3 out of 3 for Liverpool. He's going to have to wait and wait his turn. Ekitike is
30 million to wait.
Yeah. He hasn't been playing football. He hasn't had games, so I think Arne Slot will certainly start on the bench to start with.
For Arne Slot, it's a great problem to have, isn't it? To have all of those different options, lots of games. They want to go deep into competition, so to be able to change and rotate, and they can play in different positions as well. So, you know, I think that's another option, because you looked at last season, it was Salah was the one that was going to start, and then it was one of the others would play in the other 2 positions. So, yeah, I actually agree with Dawson. I know what you're saying. You spent a lot of money on a player, but I think initially Ekitike would have to start, wouldn't he? Because he's had that game time, he's performed well. Isak's not.
I think eventually he'll come and be the main number 9, of course he will. But you've got Champions League, and you've got to remember Isak can pick up an injury. They've got so many games. Every competition that Liverpool compete in, they have to get to the latter stages.
This sets a worrying trend for me, in that basically Isak has really gone out on a limb He's forced the deal, it's been unsavoury, and I do think it sets a trend. And basically, I was beginning to wonder in the middle of last week whether it'd actually get done. But I think as the week gathered pace, I think it felt more and more likely. And I think that has been lost slightly. I think the clubs have sort of had the balance of power, but I think this summer has been really instructive over player power, led by Isak, quickly followed by Isak. Next window, I guarantee a lot more players will be saying to their agents, shouldn't we do something like that?
The player power thing is really a bit double-sided here. I mean, there's actually an argument, I suppose, that the reason players have to agitate is because their power is actually quite limited, and their window of opportunity is very limited. And like all of this is in the context of, say, there's a short career, they want to maximise it. I suppose they have to do what they feel they need to do to try and maximise it. I think John is right. It does leave kind of it can be unedifying, it can feel unsavoury, but. And like, there's the obvious question: why sign such lengthy contracts if these are eventually your plans?
I think that there is something a little bit off, I think, when it comes to the way we judge player behaviour. I think we hold players to it, and I'd have loved to have seen Isak stay at Newcastle. Like they love him there; he's got a team built around him. But I think we hold players to a higher standard than we do the sporting directors or coaches or agents or the owners or clubs themselves are very happy to buy and sell players and move them around and trade them around as if they're pawns on a chess game.
Nick Jackson might be a good example.
Well, there we go. I mean, the clubs are very happy to play this game, but for some reason, when a player tries to use their leverage, it's seen as some great moral outrage.